I'm going to start over. Hey everyone, it's R. This week we're talking about trans in the media, media representation. So, what do we mean when we talk about representation? I think there's a few different facets to this. I think it's one, acknowledging the existence of people out there in the world that live their lives not in the normative fashion. There's a book called Bible Trouble where Teresa Hornsby and Ken Stone say that heterosexuality is to homosexuality as a wave is to the ocean. And while I understand their point, I think the analogy would have been made better to say that heterosexuality is to homosexuality as a wave is to a wave, because they're both very distinct points in a massive ocean of diversity. And I think that that's what we see. Whenever we look at the media, what we tend to see are images and pictures of what people generally deem as normal. And anyone who kind of lies outside of that doesn't seem real. So people have to grow up in this world without ever seeing themselves represented on TV. Adrienne Rich once said that when someone with the authority of a teacher, say, describes the world and you're not in it, there's a moment of psychic disequilibrium, as if you looked into a mirror and saw nothing. It takes some strength of the soul, not just individual strength, but collective understanding to resist this void, this non-being into which you are thrust, and to stand up demanding to be seen and heard, to make yourself visible, to claim that your experience is just as real and normative as any other. I think it's necessary that this representation has to be there in multiple ways. One, I'm seeing a surgence of news articles talking about murders of trans persons, and it could just be that I'm now following the right people to see all these updates, but I haven't seen the same amount of things before. I haven't seen the same amount of response talking about the deaths of trans persons, how they are murdered every year. And I think it's necessary that we have those stories to say that this group of people are dying, are being murdered brutally and violently. And that representation is very, very important. And I think it's necessary that this representation is overt, right? I mean, with the Harry Potter series, we had Dumbledore, who was technically gay, but it was never mentioned. It was sort of covert and ambiguous and just announced later, but I'm tired of having to sift through things that aren't said. I want outright representation in books and movies and the media and TV. I want to read about queer characters trying to navigate heteronormativity. I want to see gay and lesbian coming-of-age stories. I want to read about trans persons trying to listen to their bodies. I need stories about ace people having relationships that don't end in the realization of long-lost sexual attraction. I want stories of aromantic people with platonic friendships that are just as important as romantic ones, because being single is not a disease, nor is being asexual or trans or gay or lesbian or queer or any other identity. These are real things. There are real people facing the world without models of how to exist. There are people dying because they believe they don't fit into the world, because we can't even imagine a fake world where they exist. They're literally dying because they don't think they're normal. We need to have this representation to show them that they're normal, that they're accepted, that they're real. And that's wildly important. We have to be intentional about it. We have to make a point of this. We have to normalize it. Peace.